Welcome to Hands-on Art at Home. This week's book has always been a big Storytime hit at our studio in Old Windsor, and I think you are going to love it. It is Barry the Fish with Fingers. It was written by Sue Hendra, and she created all the fabulous images herself too. He is just the most marvellous character. Here we go. First character in the story that we're going to meet is Puffy. Here he is. He's a wonderful round fish. He's orange with yellow spikes. But whatever is he doing? Puffy, the pufferfish, could blow the best bubbles. Other fish would come from miles around to see his bubble blowing show. Shall we take a closer look? Big bubbles, small bubbles, round bubbles, square bubbles. They had never seen anything quite so amazing. Until they caught sight of Barry. Well, Barry was no ordinary fish. He's a blue fish with orange fingers. How many fingers does he have? Well, let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 orange fingers on that hand. But he has another hand over here. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more orange fingers on this hand. Goodness me, Barry was a fish with fingers. Suddenly, everyone wanted to find out more about the amazing fish with fingers. What can your fingers do, Barry? They asked. Tell us, tell us. They're just all so excited. But he's hiding his fingers behind his back at the moment. Well, said Barry, fingers mean finger painting. Here he is, painting a picture of himself with his fingers. And knitting. Here he is, knitting a lovely pink woolly jumper. And cutting. Oh, wow, look, he's cut out a chain of paper fish. Very clever, using his scissors. And fingers even mean finger puppets. How many can you see there? Well, there are 10 animals because he has 10 fingers. I wonder if you can see all the same animals that I can. I can see an elephant. Can you find it? I can see a bear. He's right next to the elephant. And oh my goodness, what's that with a fluffy yellow mane? It's a lion. What noise does a lion make? Does he go, roar? What else have we got on that hand? Oh, well, next to the lion, there is a hissing snake and a little pink piggy. Can we move over to the other hand now? There's 5 more animal characters on the other hand. I can see a monkey and a tiger and a bunny rabbit with big sticky up ears, a little chick and, oh my goodness, an octopus with so very many legs. But apparently, according to Barry, fingers are best for tickling. And there rush off all of his friends because they just don't want to be caught. It's a game. We all know what it's like when we get caught and we're tickled and tickled and tickled until we giggle so much. Well, the fish had never had so much fun. Come on, Puffy, join in, said Barry. Oh, but oh dear, poor Puffy. He didn't want to join in. He's sitting down here underneath the seaweed. He was feeling sad. Well, now nobody wants to see my bubble blowing show, he sighed. I hate Barry's fingers. They're stupid. Oh dear. So while Puffy sulked all by himself down here, Barry and the other fish had a whale of a time, chasing each other through the waves, into the sea caves, in and out of seashells, and even through the seaweed. But all of a sudden, Barry stopped dead in his tracks. He heard a loud splash and a rumbling sound. Then the sea got darker and a big shadow dropped over the ocean. Oh no! Cried Barry. Oh no! Cried the fish. A huge crate had fallen off a ship and into the water. It was going to squash poor Puffy. Quick, Barry! Do something! Cried the fish. And that was when Barry did something truly amazing. He pointed! Look out, Puffy! With a loud crash, the crate hit the seabed. Look, it's all smashed up and in lots of pieces. Well, the fish are all gathered around. Was it too late? Had poor Puffy been squashed? Phew! No, he hadn't. There's Puffy with Barry having a big cuddle, because that's what arms are good for. Thank you, Barry, said Puffy. You saved my life. I'm sorry for being such a grumpy spoil sport. Can we play tickle chase? Do you know what? Barry had an even better idea than tickle chase. Shall we see what it is? He said, let's party. Oh my word. Take it away, Puffy, he cried. Barry played the piano. Puffy blew his trumpet. Can you see all of the bubbles coming out of his trumpet? I wonder if they're all the different shapes that we saw at the beginning of the story. And everybody had the best time ever. What a fantastic story. All about friends. It's just so much fun. Well now, after every story, we have a painting activity. And it's not going to be any different today. So you're going to need to go and get all of the equipment ready. For today's activity, you're going to need some paper. You're going to need some brushes. Probably a water pot to wash your brushes in between colours. We always need our hands and fingers for a hands-on art activity. And for today, you're also going to need to see if you can find, maybe in the recycling box, some yogurt pots. Mine are square shaped on purpose. See if you can find some. I've also got a round lid off a plastic tub. I've got a round jar and even a cardboard roll. I'm going to put a little reminder up on the screen now of all the equipment that you need while you go off and find it. I'll see you in just a little minute. Welcome back. Have you got all the equipment? Or as much as you could find? It really doesn't matter. I'm ready for our painting activity today, following on from our story about Barry. Now what I'm going to start with is the yogurt pots. Now do you know why I've chosen them in these shapes? I bet you do. It's because they are the shapes of the bubbles that Puffy was blowing right at the beginning of the story. So if we dip this end, the open end of the pot, into our colour, I'm just going to dip it into my colour that I've got down in front of me. I've got blue and green and purple because those are all the colours that are in the sea. Yes, if you look really closely at the sea, you can see all those different colours. The blues and the greens are near the top, and then as it gets deeper and deeper and deeper, it goes a really deep blue until it's almost purple. So I thought it would be fun to have all of those different colours in our painting today. Here we go. So I'm going to dip the open end of the pot into the blue. There we are. So now it's covered, and I'm going to press the blue pot onto my piece of paper to make a square bubble. Isn't that clever? And then, oh goodness, I don't know, maybe we'll do a round one next. Let's choose the jar. I'm going to dip that into the purple paint so that it's all covered, and I'm going to put that one there. So when we press our pots onto the paper, we are using a technique called printing. Now then, what should I do for the green? I think I might choose the cardboard tube. I'm going to dip it into the green paint, and that's going to give me a smaller bubble. And I can keep going until I've got lots of different sizes and lots of different shapes of bubbles on my paper. There's a nice big square. Hooray! What else can we do? Let's do a green small square this time. And how about some more circles? Maybe some green circles. Wow, look at all of those bubbles! Do you like blowing bubbles? I like blowing bubbles too. Sometimes we put a little machine in the garden so that the whole garden fills up with bubbles. It's lots of fun. Now, what this sea is missing with all those bubbles is Puffy. Puffy that blew all the different shaped bubbles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dip my finger into the orange paint. Oh my goodness, that's rather a lot. And I'm going to paint Puffy over here. I'm going to do a nice big circle with my finger. There he is. I'm going to need my cloth to clean my fingers. And then Puffy had lots and lots of spikes, didn't he? When he went and blew all those bubbles. So I'm going to use my finger again, and I'm going to dip it in the yellow paint to put all the spikes coming out around Puffy. So I'm going to dip it in the yellow paint, and then I'm going to have some spikes all coming out. I have to keep dipping my finger into the paint because it's not like a pencil or a pen. It runs out of colour, so I have to keep dipping it back into the paint. In fact, it looks like for every 2 spikes, I have to put my finger back into the paint. Let's have a closer look at Puffy. There he is. Can you see him? Excellent. So we're going to leave him to dry for a minute. Just going to make sure that we can see him properly. There we are. Well now, who else was in the story? Well, we can't have a picture of Barry the fish with fingers without Barry in there. So I'm going to now cover my hand with the 2 colours that Barry had. Shall we have a little reminder? Here he is. He was blue with orange fingers. So I'm going to paint my hand blue. Lots and lots and lots of paint on here. I'm going to paint the palm of my hand. That's this round bit in the middle here. I'm going to paint that bit blue. And then, just like Barry, I'm going to make my fingers orange. I need lots of paint because I don't want it to dry out before I've had the chance to put the orange fingers on there. Oops, I've got my paintbrushes all in a tangle. Here we go. So I'm going to pop the orange paint on my fingers. So much fun painting your hands. I mustn't forget the thumb. There we are. Right, are we ready for Barry? I'm going to have to shuffle across a little bit, pop my hand right onto the paper, give it a good squish. And there he is. There's my fishy handprint. I'm going to have to give my hand a really good clean. Of course, the next thing to do is to add in all of Barry and Puffy's friends. Well, the good news is that fish come in so many different colours with lots of different patterns on them. So you could choose any of your colours to add some more fish onto here. What if we decided to do a red fish? Maybe he could have purple stripes. Let's do that. Let's do a red fish. Here we are, there's his body. And then we could add in some purple stripes. This one's going to be a real tropical fish. He's got 2 purple stripes. And what colour do you think his fins should be? How about green? Here we go. He's coming along nicely. And finally, what about some yellow on there as well? Make him a real vibrant tropical fish. Wow! Here's my fishy. I'm going to pop it onto here. Give it a good squish. My word! That's a really colourful fish. Just imagine him swimming along in the ocean. Now, because I've got a grown-up hand, this bit here doesn't print very well onto the paper. So what I need to do is to just go back and fill in that bit. So I could use a different colour and put a spot in the middle, or I could use the same colour to just fill it in. So with this one, with Barry, I'm going to keep him blue, just like Barry in the story. And then with my tropical fish up the top here, well, he's got a bit of red missing, hasn't he? There we are. Now, what are all the fish missing? Well, they've got their colours, they've got their stripes and their fingers and their spikes. They need an eye so that they can wink at you and come and play. So what we're going to need now is some white paint, not too much, and a finger, so that we can put one eye on Barry, one eye on the tropical fish. We'll have to come up with a name for him. And Puffy is looking straight at us, so he needs 2 eyes looking out at us. Here we go. 1, 2. We need to let those dry for just a little minute before we can put the black on. And I was just thinking, with our fish, of course, because they're in the sea and they're swimming, they can go in all different directions. So your fish could be coming up that way, they could be diving down, they could be hiding behind Puffy. There's all sorts of things that you can do. I wonder what you will decide to do, and how many fish you will be able to fit onto your piece of paper. Right, let's see if that's dry enough for us to put the pupils in the middle of the eye. See, now if we look at Barry, see, he's got big white eyes with a black dot in the middle, and you've got white on your eyes and a coloured bit in the middle. So I'm just going to put out a little bit of black paint so that we can finish off the eyes on our fish. Here we go. One on the tiger fish. He's so stripy, I've decided I'm going to call him a tiger fish. And one on Barry. And finally, Puffy needs two. And there we are. There are all of our fish floating in the sea, in amongst all of Puffy's fantastic bubbles. There we go. Well, I do hope you've had lots of fun painting your fish. I've had a great time. It's one of my favourite places is the ocean. Diving deep underneath the surface and having a look for all those wonderful creatures. It would be wonderful if you could send me photos of your paintings. You could either pop them on our Facebook page, or maybe your parents could send them in a little email to me and I can put them up on our website or on our Facebook page. It would just be lovely to see what you've been up to. Take care now. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.